basically have a full crew here. But thanks for being here for our January Life Skills. I would like to welcome our panel of college players right here. And fellas, as I introduce you, just do a quick little wave, and then we'll introduce yourselves a little bit more in depth after I give your names. Okay, so at the far end over there, we have Carter Henderson, goes to Boston College, and then Ethan Bombardier, and forgive me if I butcher your name.
No shot.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. Upper Iowa University. Then Joe Anderson from Gustavus. We have Vinny Wooddeal from Dakota County Technical.
We almost got there.
What was it?
Woodley.
Woodley.
Yeah.
Oh, I butchered it. And then Jack McDonough at Ave Maria University in Florida. All right, so fellas, thanks for being here again. I do want to kick it off. Like, where are you guys' hometown? What position do you guys play? And then what year in school are you guys? So we'll start down with Carter, and we'll work our way down. After that, we'll just open it up to questions, whatever we have here, and we'll get rolling.
Sweet. So I am Carter Henderson. I am a graduate student at Boston College. I just transferred there, so this is my last year of fixed ball. I am an outfielder, and I am from Farmington, went to Farmington High School.
I'm Ethan Bombardier. I played Upper Iowa, right-handed pitcher. I'm a sophomore now, and I'm from Farmington, Minnesota, at Farmington High School.
Joe Anderson. I went to Egan High School, played for Coach Butler here. I'm a sophomore outfielder at Gustavus.
Vinny Woodley. I grew up in Apple Valley. I was an Eastview kid though. I'm a right-handed pitcher at DCTC. I'm a redshirt freshman.
I'm Jack McDonough. I'm from Burnsville, Minnesota. I went to Academy of Holy Angels. I'm a catcher at Ave Maria University. I'm in my third year, and I spent 2 years at NIAP.
All right, we will open it up for questions, and then guys, feel free to answer as you like. We can simply pass the mic down if you'd like, or just jump around as needed. So, first question right here.
My first question is what's the best way to be, there when for coaches to see?
I'll just say for me, literally Twitter, X. I DM so many coaches, and not all of them are gonna get back to you, but a lot do, and that's a good place to start. That or email, and just being able to talk to your coaches about if they have any connections, can they help you with anyone, or if you have a school you want to talk to, could see with your coaches if they could help put your name out there for you. But I definitely think using X and all those resources on there, if they
I'd say kind of to go along with that is you guys have a lot of resources that a lot of people don't have in a place like this, people that you know. And so using those, you guys have people that know 200 different coaches in the NCAA across all levels, and they understand who you are. And so it's not just a coach seeing you for the first time at some showcase. It's you have people that can vouch for you as to who you actually are as a person.
I would say one big thing is don't close any doors too early. Really make sure you're keeping your options open, because you never know, whether injuries derail things. It's just hard to know exactly what's going to happen in the future. So make sure you keep your options open and really take advantage of the guys here at MASH. All of us were MASH guys, and now obviously we have connections at different colleges. So find a guy at a college that we're looking at and have a conversation with them, and that's a good way to build a relationship there.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of touched on what Vinny said. I think the main kind of focus of that question would be just using your resources here at MASH. Obviously, I'm a little off. I know what's in the group, so I've been around MASH for quite some time now. And just the relationships that I've built in this place, from top to bottom, has just been nothing special. And guys like Steve and Andy and Tony and Tom and all of those guys that have been around for so long that have done so much for me, and just being able to use those guys that has experienced themselves in such a such a valuable resource. Definitely sure.
Thank you.
Other question?
I guess knowing what you guys know now in college, what would you recommend some of these kids look for, and like what specific factors would you recommend they focus on when they're looking at colleges and deciding what schools they want to go to?
Yeah, I would just say continue to just better yourself in all aspects of kind of your career, but not only like on the field but off the field. I think the relationship aspect of everything, not even here, but like outside of MASH, is just so important. And another thing that I have found a lot of value is just trying to do as much as you can. While being young, obviously you got a lot of younger kids in this group, but just not trying to get stuck on maybe just playing baseball and thinking that's the reason how you're going to get into a college. Like being able to just do as much as you can throughout such a young age, I think is important really to
The closest college.
I would say the same thing. Like having good values. I mean, here at MASH, they teach you how to become a good baseball player, but also become a good person. So I guess I've been here for 8 years. I did time to become a better person, also a better baseball player. But it helps a lot getting to colleges and getting a lot of connections.
Yeah, one big thing for me was finding a place that had a good culture that I really liked, and that's something we really emphasize here at MASH. It's culture, and I just think that's something that's really important to be in a culture that fits you and your personality and the way that you want to work, and that really comes from both the school and then the coaches, your teammates, like everybody who you're going to be surrounding yourself with. So culture is a big thing to keep in mind when looking at where you would want to go.
I would say, in terms of like now, just to keep having fun. That's the biggest thing, is that making sure everything's fun. Oftentimes, sports can feel like almost a job, especially when you have to do certain things. You have to go to practice twice a day, whatever it is. It can often feel like a job, but just taking a step back and making sure that you're actually having fun the whole time you're doing it. That's the reason why you're actually doing that. But then in terms of deciding on a school, I actually transferred after my freshman year to DCTC. And when I had originally decided to I went to UMD last year. I had originally decided on just going somewhere to play baseball. UME was the only offer that I had coming out of high school. I didn't even bother. I didn't take a single visit any other school other than UMD. I was like, I want to play, and I kind of neglected the whole fit thing that he talked about, is like the culture aspect of it and everything else that goes into actually playing a sport in college. And then I had taken some time and then decided to talk to some people that I know. And they were like, it's not the end all be all. And so then that's how I ended up being at DCTC, because I found a place that I fit much better.
I would say, like, while you're still in high school, middle school, like, think about your grades and go 100% in the classroom, because although in the future, where you might not be thinking about it right now, and you might not think about, oh, I want to go to a high academic school, or I just want to focus on baseball or whatever, but you never know where the sport's going to take you. And you never know where baseball and academics are going to take you, and you could find a love for something specific. So I also think it's important, look for a school that has your major, find something you want to do, and like pursue that while also pursuing baseball, but focus on academics, because that's going to be big no matter what. No matter where you're at playing baseball, no matter what school, what level, whatever it is, academics will always be there in that degree.
Let's go Pia first.
Talking about that, Jack, I think it's important. What is your, how do you manage being a student athlete? Well, really, I mean, what does your day look like in college?
Yeah, so out of high school, I went to a junior college for NIL. My gen ed is there. It was very easy. You get more free time. It's a good way to improve at baseball with cheaper, less expensive general ed options for your degree, for your credits. But now I transferred to a high academic school in Florida, Ave Maria University. And the academics are like 3 times bigger, right? It's impossible. So academics, like library, Monday through Thursday, practice from 5 to 8 or so, eat, and then I go to the library often 2-3 hours a night for 4 days a week and Sunday, and it helped and it worked for me because it was such a difference. Where now next semester, I might not have to do that every day. I'm gonna be better at it. I know what I need to do now, but it's very important that you have that balance. But you still have time, like my Friday nights, my Saturdays, my Sundays. I still have time to be with my friends, hang out, do whatever. But it's important you do your academics first to be able to give yourself that time.
He says, so now I'm at PCTC, and so all my classes that I took were online. But despite that, I would get all my work on Sunday for the week leading up. And then for me, the biggest thing was getting into routine, knowing that I'd have practice at the same time throughout the entire week. And I got all my assignments on the same day. And it was giving myself checkpoints throughout the week to make sure I was on track or ahead. Because there was definitely times where things got pushed back. And I was Sunday night, oh, now I have 5 assignments to do. And then you aren't able to do the things like that he was talking about, where it's, you can't go out on a Friday night because you have to stay home and do homework. Where it's just finding a routine and getting into that and training ahead throughout your whole week.
Yeah, like Vinny said, routine's really important. So what I generally do at Gustavus is we have like a study room in one of the academic buildings where once we finish up practice from day, gun, food, and everything like that, a lot of our teammates will just all meet up in that room and do homework there, which is a really nice balance of like being able to have those older guys who have often taken some of the classes that you have, where they're able to help you out. And it's also a social thing. Like you're there doing homework where you're also there with your teammates and some of your best friends. And that's been a really good balance for me.
Building a routine, I have a pretty small campus. I mean, my biggest class I got 13 people in it, so it's super easy for me to get resources and talk to feature. I think that's the biggest thing is you find the resources like the tutor center or even like talking to feature. I built the routine my first semester, the freshman kind of came along me quick and didn't expect it to be that hard. But once you build a routine and find what you need to do and like the certain times and don't procrastinate till the weekend, I think it's a good balance, especially with practice. But our coaches will get a class schedule we fill out, like both practices around their classes and everything like that. So it's a good balance of baseball and school.
Yeah, I would just say kind of that ties into a routine and everything. It's just time management and kind of not letting yourself be caught up, but try to do everything at once. Really, what is helped me and I've learned over the past couple years, just like spreading everything out. And just trying to get certain stuff done at a time because when you start to pile stuff in, it just doesn't get fun. And as easy as you practice, then you're not saving water, you're not eating it, and then you kind of just pile it up. So I think time management, just carrying out a good process, I think that helps a lot.
So, can you guys tell everyone, right, you're in college now, been talked about it, where you get into college and it becomes a little bit more of a job. Can you guys give examples of when you fell in love with baseball and why, and how that's carried you through into college? And if you can't think of one, don't sputter around trying to think of one. I only want genuine answers.
Yeah, I guess I can start. I mean, I think for me, it started at such a young age. Having my dad be such an important piece of my life, where he was able to start me young on the game of baseball, and I'm forever grateful for him because he was never one that made me feel pressured in playing the game, but it was just him more so seeing that the confidence that he had in me, and he was able to instill that in me throughout my career, and just being able to kind of push me along, and then I think kind of started honestly like just every day is playing with all my friends that I grew up with at a young age, and then leading into when I started playing MASH, I got to meet a lot of the new kids that I have played against for a while, but it wasn't really, I didn't really know. So meeting them, and then high school baseball for me was just a badass. Obviously, a lot of the kids you get to play with growing up, and my senior year winning a state championship was kind of that's something I had worked for so long and looked forward to, and I finally made it happen. That's when it all kind of hit me. So you keep playing. So
For me, my parents never did a lot of baseball, and really played. I think I fell in love with the game when I was young. Me and my brother playing together all the time and training together. I think was the biggest thing. I think all those moments with him and playing with him, and I believe playing on the same team until now. We both are playing the same college. I think that's probably my favorite thing. Is going to play with my brother.
For me, it was also my dad. My dad never played in high level baseball, but if you ask him any MLB stat line from any year, he will read it right off memory. He's just always been super passionate about watching it, and I would always do that. Just watch the trains with him. He would always bring me to games and stuff, and that's just really when I fell in love with baseball.
For me, it was actually all the way back. It was the first glove I ever got. My godfather, I had gone out into his shed, dug into a bottom of a box, and found a glove, and then brought it out to him. Like asked him what it was because didn't really know, and then he was like, "Oh, it's a baseball glove." And then that day, we went out and just played a game of catch. It was the very first time I'd ever done it, and then ever since that, that feeling of kind of just being free from everything is what I get for playing baseball. So that's when like I said earlier, there's times that everything starts to feel like a job. It's kind of just taking a step back, not thinking about anything, not thinking about any result or anything like that, and just going out and having a game of catch with whoever it may be. Come out here, throw with Jack. Just game of catch, we're just out there just talking, just not thinking about anything that's going on, and that's just it.
I'd say for me, it was I have some good memories when I was coach pitcher T-ball, a couple unassisted triple plays in the field. I think I like to go back to thinking about that. I think that was a good time period where it really kicked off for me.
Dylan, did you have one?
Oh yeah, my question is what's one thing to stand out for coaches on them?
I always say your hustle and respect. Those are two things that no one can ever take away from you. It's if you're hustling, you're respecting the game, you're respecting your teammates and coaches around you, and whatever scouts or whatever coaches that are looking at you, if you're respectful, you're showing respect to the game, you're hustling, those will never go away. Those are always good things.
Like that, I'd say character is probably the biggest thing. Is that your coaches, especially in college, when they're around you all year round, they see you not just on the baseball field, but it's in a classroom, how you interact with people you don't actually know. It's those little things that speak to your character as who you actually are as a person. And at the beginning of the year, our coach, we had some pro scouts coming down to watch some guys. And he pulled everybody aside, and it was these guys aren't just investing in you as a baseball player, they're investing in you as a person. And so for a coach, a scout, whoever it may be, to put their trust in you, whether that's $10 million or a $500 scholarship, they have to know who you truly are as a person.
Yeah, a big thing is how you carry yourself and present yourself, especially around and on the baseball field. Don't be the guy who shows up to games in shorts, carrying your pants, equipment all over the place, things like that. Treat it seriously, even at the lower levels. Just again, like Jack said, have respect for the game, and coaches will notice things like that.
If for me, is to be a good teammate. I think there is going to be the guy who has most high fives, who's always on the fence, who's always up there cheering for his buddies. I'm the guy who's back on the bench and doing nothing. I think in college, his first couple years might have a year to play, but you might be a guy who's a glue guy or a good teammate guy. Just be that guy who can be loud all the time and keep up with teammates.
Yeah, I would say for one thing on the field, I would say just playing the game as hard as you can. that's kind of something I took a lot of pride in as I've gotten older and gotten more experience with the game of baseball. Someone who has ever been the biggest, strongest dude, kind of on the smaller side, but I think I took a lot of pride in just playing the game as hard as I could, just being the biggest competitor on the field. I think goes a long way, stands out a lot. And then off the field, kind of just the way you carry yourself, and kind of just the way you go about your business. And I would revert back to this story, and I don't even remember if Steve remembers this. But one time I showed up, I was probably 13 or 14, and Steve knew like I wanted to play baseball, like that was something I wanted to do. I remember I showed up to the field in like flip-flops and like a backwards hat and like a baggy shirt. And I remember like Steve like pulled me aside, it's just the guy he is. He pulled me aside and like had like a man-to-man conversation and basically like told me that wasn't okay, like I needed to be better about that, and that's just like not an acceptable way to show up to the baseball field. And so it's honestly something I think about to this day. I mean, if Steve remembers that, but that's something I take a lot of pride in. He shows the type of person that Steve is. So.
Yeah, I think you mentioned showcases earlier. So I guess my question for you fellas is, at what age did you guys start going to showcases, and did any opportunities come about from that?
Yeah, I probably started my first showcase 15, maybe. That wasn't something I did a ton, but I think brings a lot of importance if you do it the right way. I think nowadays there's so much that gets caught up on, like kids at such a young age are trying to like that they're going to get good, spend a lot of money on showcases that. And at the end of the day, like you're still 11, 12 years old, like go spend your money on like being in the weight room or like eating good food or like the stuff you do outside of baseball, which I think it's important at a young age. But once you kind of have those tools and kind of sharpen those tools as you get older, I think is an important start to like get into the showcases. And then one thing I took away, I was grateful enough to be able to participate in the Futures Games at PBR in Atlanta, and so that's always one of the bigger showcases throughout every year with most of all the colleges throughout the country. So I was able to lucky enough to participate in that, and that was kind of how I started my reading process.
I only did one showcase, probably about 16, before I was ready to go in the showcase and compete, get my best numbers. But I got a little bit of looks from the showcase that I did the most. I got looks at the Impact Player Series at the MASH runs. I was probably the best. I mean, you're playing a game, just that in a showcase, there's a showcase of throwing bullpen, like just spinning ground balls, hitting BP in the game. It shows not just your talent, but also your teammate, the character, how you feel yourself.
Yeah, I started doing showcases my freshman year, and the way that I kind of handled that is I would do one every year before high school ball started, so right at the end of the off season when I felt like I was going to put up my best numbers and perform my best. I see a lot of people like kind of get caught up in, if they have a bad showcase, they weren't feeling good that day, like then going back to another, and that can kind of snowball. We're going to see some guys doing just a ton of showcases. And I would say the once a year thing worked really well for me, where on the websites for PBR, Perfect Game, whatever it was, so you can see like the steady increase year to year. And I know that's what a lot of college coaches look for, is the steady progression, showing they were getting better and better each year.
So I actually did not do any showcases. I actually hadn't decided I wanted to play college baseball until my senior year. I had gone to the UMB camp, and then been thinking about going to school there regardless of baseball, and then decided to go there. Then from just that camp, I got my offer. But with that being said, showcases aren't just the end all be all, but if I could go back, I would do something along the lines of what he did, where it's just getting your name out, but also understanding that which our coaches talked about this a lot this fall, being JUCO. There's a lot of showcases that we go to. Is there is such thing as bad film? Is that understanding that if you aren't ready to do it, doing it just to do it isn't going to benefit you. So, but if, like I said, if I could go back, I would do something along the lines of that and go at least once a year.
I'm gonna piggyback off Indy there. I did a couple. I think one maybe like summer before my sophomore year, and then another one like sophomore spring or something around there. And I think that'd be like a good time to do one. But I would only do it if you're like good enough, kind of, right? Like you got to be strong because there's always gonna be kids stronger. There's kids stronger than me, and there wasn't really a necessity for me to go to that showcase while I was still weak, not swinging good. I think it's way more important to get in the weight room, get strong, and then go back out there and show them like your best stuff, like what all of these guys have said. It's not going to help you much if you're just out there swinging with no real purpose. You're not driving the ball. You're not running fast. Like, build up all that strength, get to a point where you're very athletic, a very good athlete, and then go show what you got. And I think that will pay off really well.
I actually have a question for all 5 of you guys. Could you just touch into what your recruiting processes look like? Whether that be one or multiple, and then how did you end up settling on the decision and school that you guys went to?
Yeah, so I went to Nyack to start, and now I'm at Ave Maria. In high school, I talked to some schools, and I went on a couple D3 visits, and then a couple JUCOs. And I visited Nyack, and at first I was just gonna go to school, but then I decided once baseball season kicked up my senior year that I decided I wanted to play baseball. And so I liked Nyack. It's a good program, so I decided to go there. Not much thought, just like, yeah, it's going to be good for me, right? And then a bit more of a serious recruiting was last year, my sophomore year. During the season, I was playing a bunch of games, and then schools were reaching out and whatnot. Coaches were helping. It was on a lot of NAI level schools, and I found Ave Maria reached out to me. And I really liked all their coaches. They were very invested in me, like throughout the course of the season, not just text me once. They're really texting me every week or every couple weeks, like asking how I'm doing, letting me know how they're doing and whatnot. And I think that was big for me is like they really cared about me, my season, not just after watching me one time or what they heard or whatnot. And so that was big for me and the reason I loved them and went there.
I've had 2 pretty different recruitments out of high school. Like I said, I had just gone to that one UND camp. And then they basically told me that I had about 2 weeks to sign, which was October of my senior year. And so then that decision was pretty quick, not much to it. But then now being at DCTC, I'm just now coming back from surgery. And so I've just started having enough like film to actually send coaches. And so it's been a lot of just my coach at DCTC reaching out to guys if he knows, finding connections, whether that's summer ball, playing like the Northwoods, things like that, just to try to get my name out there. But it's just been a lot of sending film out to guys now that I do have it. But then, like I said, also at the very beginning, now being that I've gotten to a point where I'm capable to actually talk to coaches, like I have a product that I'm actually proud to say, like me talking about the showcases where I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with what I have to give to a coach to show him. I've got these metrics, I can run this fast, lift this amount of weight, whatever that is. Now actually reaching out, just trying to get my name out there. And then using the resources here that we all have.
Yeah, for me, it was like these guys kind of said, really try and get your name out there as much as you can. And I really tried to, like I mentioned earlier, keep all of my options open. And from there, from all the options, really started kind of narrowing it down, looking at distance away from home. Obviously, money is a big part of it too. And then the culture aspect. And what I did is from all those options, really narrowed it down to my top 3 schools. And then all 3 of those schools were nice enough to have me go on a second visit. So I did that, and then from there, made my final decision based off all of those factors.
Our career process started by junior summer was when I started getting looks from colleges and stuff like that, from the tournaments. I didn't get a whole lot of offers right away. I probably got a couple. I got one after the Impact Series and won in the fall in the tournament. But I mean, I went on a visit to Gustavus and UP and then Upper Iowa. I feel like I found like my home when I was Upper Iowa. I kind of like the facilities, the culture, the coaches. I connected well with the coaches, and the coach would invite me back to go to a practice and hang out with the players and get to know those guys. And I feel like I connected very well with the players and the culture they had there. And I was also kind of, I think it took in the aspect like the money, obviously as well, was good there. That's the reason why it kept right.
Yeah, I had a pretty smooth recruit process. I started off I graduated from Xavier University. I spent my first 4 years there. I probably got first recruited, and I was the end of my sophomore year, leading into my junior year. After I had participated in the Futures games, I had a couple coaches reach out. But then I actually took my first and only visit to Xavier, and just immediately fell in love with it. From top to bottom, all the people that were involved within that program, the coaching staff, the training staff, the players, all the teammates, how the school was ran, all the things outside of school, like everything just felt like home for me right away. So I committed pretty soon after I went up that visit there. So it was kind of obvious for me that I wanted to end up there, and then ended up transferring this kind of summer. And it just was one of those places that you just kind of know right away. I was able to take a visit, and like everything from top to bottom, it just felt right. It felt like a place I wanted to spend a year at.
Just looking at the group, so something that not everyone in here knows is that all 5 of these guys had like big underdog stories, all in actually very uniquely different ways in how they got to where they are. So I would ask, one, what is the thing you hang your hat on as a player that has gotten you to the point that you're at? Like, this is what I'm known for. And then secondly, what do you feel like you had to overcome that was a deficiency that you addressed, that you said, this is what's going to make me go to college and actually be able to stay where?
Yeah, I think it touches back on to what I said earlier, of how you kind of stand out on the field. Like I play in Sibbar, just taking so much pride at just being someone that steps on the field, could be the hardest player on the field. And I think that is the truth, and that's just the way I've carried myself. Honestly, not just in baseball, but all the sports that I've played. I just think that's kind of how I was raised. Taking full pride in that is something that I just relied on. I always have for the best player, or at the strongest tools or most tools, but just at the end of the day, it was something that I took a lot of pride in, and I think has kind of carried me throughout the career. And secondly, what I've kind of had to overcome maybe is, which I think kind of ties into that too, is there's a lot of things that you see now that I wish I would have done back in my high school days. Like, for instance, like eat more. Like I was kind of a small kid. Like, it's kind of funny, like looking back that I think of it, but I just didn't really know that back in high school. And for all the experience that I've had now, just being able to look back and kind of like see what you can improve on is important, because now I get to share with people like you guys that were once in my shoes, and I think I found a lot of value in that, and I'm in being able to share a lot of the experiences that I wish I would have known when I was in high school.
The biggest thing for me was to get in the weight room. I mean, I was a small, good kid for until I was a sophomore in high school.
How hard did you throw as a freshman?
Probably about 65 miles an hour.
How hard did you throw as a sophomore?
About 70, and then that sophomore, junior, I got jumped up to 86. Well, finally, from that work in the off season, I was looking after my brother was kind of like behind over me, looking after me, seeing the weight room getting bigger, getting stronger. And I was wondering why I wasn't doing that. I realized they were putting the time and the effort to get in the weight room and go train. So that sophomore year, in my junior year, I got in the weight room, got off all the coaches, met with Nate, the strength coach, and went through nutrition and weight and all that stuff. I was in there probably 5 times a week, getting my work in. it paid off really well. That full year, sophomore year, I jumped from like it was about 74 to 86. So I jumped falling out an hour in off season. So it paid off really well. And then the next year, I kept on going up, and I got my offer and played college. I had a really well year of college, and then towards the end of that year, middle of the season, I ended up tearing my UCL. So that was kind of another setback I had there of what I had to do to get back to LT. It's been 8 months now, and finally had my first bullpen bat today, so ready to be back.
One thing that I can really hang my hat on, it's my work in the weight room. Coming into high school, I was maybe 100 pounds, soaking wet, just really skinny kid, and I realized that that's one thing that could very quickly up my game. Just spending a lot of time in the weight room, focusing on nutrition, like these guys said, and that's something that has really separated me. And no coach is ever gonna look at you and say you're too strong, you're too fast. Like no coach is ever gonna say that. You can always get better in that aspect of the game, and it's never going to hurt you.
A pretty common theme amongst everybody is that going into my senior year, I had never picked up a weight. I was 145 pounds, 6'1", 145 going into my senior year. And then it was after I got my UMD offer, I had actually originally gone to the UMD campus at catcher. And then I'd gone there, and they were like, we want to offer you a pitcher, because I had gone against 4 batters there. They were like, we see you projectable as a pitcher, and I was like, all right, I'll give this baseball thing a shot. And then in 2 months, I think I went from 145 to 175 my senior year. And then because of that, I think I topped out at 83 or 84 at the start of my senior year. And then in our very first testing day, I hit 89. I think it was that November, December. And so it was a very, very big jump for me. But then leading into my senior year, I was in 24 grad. Towards the end, I had gotten hurt. And then leading up to my fall last year, got hurt again in the fall. And then I ended up having surgery last March 6th, March 4th, something like that. And so then it's been a lot of up and down. And then, like you said, that's something that I can definitely hang my hat on, is I take pride in who I am, not just on the field. I know that I've put in the work to get to where I am now, whether that's in the weight room, with the fork, whatever that may be, trusting the process along the whole way. And then knowing that there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to coming back from injury. And then now, you said, his first bullpen got up to 91, which ties a PR. And then I was trusting the process. I was able to PR my very, very first bullpen back. And then now I'm about 10 months. I've actually PR'd by 3 miles an hour since pre-surgery. So that's something that I can hang my hat on, is that taking pride in that anything that goes into just being able to actually play.
So I think I'll hang my hat on is like my grit behind the plate. I'm a catcher. I think working hard behind the plate, Ben would know, like having all the balls in front of you, that's something that everyone on your team will really appreciate and enjoy. And then like for me, just like all these other guys, I went in and started my freshman year at 160 pounds on day one at my junior college, and quickly realized that was not heavy enough. We had multiple catchers above me who, one of them was a D1 kickback and another one went to play D1 next year. And these guys were men and they were huge, and I realized I needed to gain weight. And so going into my sophomore year, I gained 10 or 15 pounds before my sophomore year, and then I've gained another 10 or 15 before my junior year, and that just helps with everything, being able to be strong, and that's big.
We have time for a couple more questions.
It's everybody studying. Wants to be.
with college?
I'm studying managerial economics and strategic analysis, and I'm hoping to work like the front office of the sports team, ideally in baseball.
Now I'm just taking gen eds, but last year I was exercise science and sports rehabilitation. That's what I plan on going back into. Not totally sure, but along the lines of physical therapy. What about that?
Yeah, I'm studying exercise physiology, hoping to do strength coaching, and that's what I do here now part-time at Nash in the weight room down there, and hopefully that can lead to a career for down the line.
I'm studying exercise science, so hopefully being a PTA someday. I got my undergrad degree in sports management at Xavier, and now I'm getting a master's degree in a leadership program. So hopefully continue to take on my baseball career, but after that, I think I want to get coaching of some sort. I think that's something that I'm doing. Okay, right. Got it.
What other sports do you guys play?
I played 3 sports in high school, all the way up until Southern College, and I played football, hockey, and baseball. So there's minus the 3 that I put.
I didn't play other sports in high school, but before that I wrestled for about 6 years, but just didn't study that.
Yeah, up until high school, I played basketball and football, and then once I got to high school, decided more focus on baseball, but kind of unintentionally got into powerlifting as well.
I was just baseball in high school, but leading up to that, I was basketball. Yeah.
I played hockey and baseball all the way through high school, and then when I was out of my junior college in Iowa, I found a men's league hockey team so I could keep up with it. I think that's really important to get away from baseball and be able to enjoy life doing something else.
All right. One more question on me. You have a favorite memory from college, whether that be on the field or just life itself?
Yeah, I'd say if it was going to be from the life, I'd say when I got down to school this year, my school's like 45 minutes from the beach in Southwest Florida. And I think it was a big culture shock when I go to school and I'm out of the Midwest. And within the first month, there was a school party or so on the beach, and that was just fun to being all the baseball guys first few weeks with them and being able to go to the beach with all the guys. It was a lot of fun.
I'd say my favorite from last year was one of our very, very few home games that we actually had up in Duluth. We actually had, there was a walk-off pass ball that went in between the other team's catcher's legs, and then it was straight to the backstop, and we walked it off like that. But then this was our senior night, and so then everybody was into it the whole game. It was to end the series against Crookston. And that ended up being one of the most pivotal games for us because we won the tiebreaker against Crookston, which put us up to the 60 for our playoffs, which ended up being one of our most important games of the year.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely winning the MIAC championship last year. First time in school history that Estatus had the best regular season record and won the playoffs. And honestly, specifically, it was probably the bus ride home after that game. It was a lot of fun.
I'd say our first years last year down in Oklahoma, our number 1 got sick, and our coach didn't remember about that until the morning of the game. We had 3 starters in one room. He comes up to our table breakfast, and Pleasant Eagles, by the way, just started skiing like about 2 hours before we did. So it was a little crazy, but it was fun for you. I ended up throwing a breakfast and just went up to the room, got ready together.
My favorite baseball memory in college has to be my sophomore year out at Xavier. We won our ladies conference championship. That was just not only cool for me, but we had 2 specific guys on our team that were both 5th years at the time, and they had been so close so many years before that, and just to be able to see those 2 celebrate was just so special to me. And that was one of those moments where you kind of sit back and just feel grateful to be a part of something like that. So that, and then we got to winning that, we got to play in an NCAA tournament at a regional against Vanderbilt.
July's par 5.
Any others before we go? All right, let's do it out for